I think from Mukambani it must be 𝐄𝐢𝐬𝐻. Welcome. Karibu. Karibu. Where I come from, it will have been 𝐄𝐢𝐬𝐻. 𝐄𝐢𝐬𝐻. Thank you. Thank you. We will keep learning how to pronounce the name as we go along. My name is Nelson Makanda. I am the chair of this selection panel, and it's a great pleasure to have you come, but much more to thank you for applying and congratulate you for being shortlisted for the same position. I will invite my colleagues here to introduce themselves to you. You do have a pen and a notebook so that should you need to record something, you have a capacity to do so. Linda, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Joseph.
Good afternoon.
My name is Linda 𝐁𝐢𝐬𝐬, and I'm the Vice Chair. I take this opportunity to welcome you for this interview.
Thank you.
Askofu mstaafu.
Yes.
Joseph
𝐄𝐢𝐬𝐻.
Chafoa.
Yes.
Habari ya leo?
Leo niko salama.
Okay. Asante. Mi naitwa Bwana Andrew Tanui, mwanachama wa chopo hili la uteuzi, na karibu.
Asante.
Okay.
Mr. 𝐄𝐢𝐬𝐻.
Yes.
Caroline Kituku is my name. Karibu.
Thank you.
Bishop Emeritus. My name is Adam Solo, a member of the selection panel.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
My name is Nicodemus Bore. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Fatuma Ali Saman, a member of the panel. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. 𝐄𝐢𝐬𝐻.
Good afternoon,
And karibu sana. My name is 𝐂𝐤𝐬𝐬𝐞𝐫𝐢𝐭𝐮𝐬, and I'm a member of this panel.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Joseph.
Good afternoon,
I
sir.
take the easy route. My name is Evans Misati. I'm a member of this selection panel, and we welcome you to this interview session. Asante.
Now we would like you to introduce yourself, briefly giving a highlight of your profile and why you think that that profile is suitable for the position of a member of the commission. Indicate to us if you belong to any professional group, and if you also have won any certificate or award or honor that is in your name. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair, Dr. Evans Makanda. First and foremost, I would want to thank Almighty God, for He is the reason as to why we are all here. Secondly, I would want to thank this panel to have invited me to come today to engage or to appear before yourselves. And mostly, I want to thank you for having shortlisted me in this position. I am Bishop Emeritus Joseph 𝐄𝐢𝐬𝐻. I am a Kenyan by birth. I come from a place known as Zombe in Kitui East Sub-County, Kitui County. I am an holder of a master's degree in management and leadership. I also have a bachelor's degree in the same discipline. Right now, I have finished classwork for a doctoral level of management and leadership. My progression career began in 1984, January, when I joined the defunct Kenya Ports and Telecommunication Corporation, where I worked for 10.5 years straight and left in June 19 1994 to go and become a full-time church minister in the capacity of bishop in the New Apostolic Church. Sometimes I got an opportunity in the years 2000 and 2006 to work with the defunct Electoral Commission of Kenya in the capacities of registration officer and returning officer on contract basis. From there, I got an opportunity also to work in the National Assembly in the office of the Minority Whip, then as a liaison officer. Throughout my career, I also got an opportunity to work in the private sector, GN and company, to be specific, from the year 2018 to 2021. While 2021, also I got an opportunity to be appointed in task forces and committees in the Kitui County government. One task force where I was the vice chair was in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation, where we were to look and evaluate the health facilities in Kitui County. In the same county, I was appointed in a task force that was to look the water distribution in all learning institutions in Kitui County. That one, I was the chair. Again, I got an opportunity to head a committee in the Ministry of Treasury or Finance, County Ministry of Finance, for verification and monitoring of projects. I think that one I did not put there in my CV. I only put the first one, which is a semblance of the rest too. While in the year 2021, the Kitui County government advertised for positions of board members in the County Public Service Board, where I submitted my application. And when the panel, the selected panel, checked on the credentials, they shortlisted me. They invited me for interview. And I went to attend the interview. And then after some time, my name was submitted to the Kitui County Assembly for vetting along with the other 5 names. After the approval by the county assembly members, I was appointed as a board member in the Kitui County Public Service Board, where I am to date. Beside my academic qualifications that I have mentioned, I am an associate member of Kenya Institute of Management. Therefore, I come along with strong skills of management and leadership, which I have acquired through the academic journey and the experiences that I've acquired in various organizations that I have worked in. And when I looked at the advert that was placed by this noble selection panel, I went through it and I feel that I qualify to be a member of IEBC or Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, so that I can bring in my expertise in management and leadership. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, panel members.
Thank you very much, Linda. You want to take off from there, please?
Thank you, Chairman. Bishop, apart from your professional expertise, what other competencies, skills, experiences, and exposure do you bring to the IEBC Commission?
Thank you, Vice Chair. I begin with where I am today as a board member. As a board member, I have been exposed to working with the stakeholders, because as a member of County Public Service Board, we collaborate with government agencies like Salaries and Remuneration Commission. We have our mother commission, that is Public Service Commission. We also work with the Directorate of Personnel Service Management, that is DPSM. Also, on the same, we are exposed to exercising the constitutional mandate of public participation, that is Article 10, by engaging stakeholders when we make a policy. Before we take it to the cabinet for it to be adopted, we take it to the assembly, County Assembly of Kitui, and then we take to other stakeholders. So I'm exposed to that. As well, in the church, I have acquired personal attributes that has enabled me to engage with the people, do communication with the people effectively, and also listen to them more, because as a church, you need to listen to your members. What is eating them up? How can you help them? How can you engage them and uplift their spirit? So those personal attributes I have acquired from the church. Also, I have an experience. I got an experience to the electoral law when I was appointed as a returning officer. By the way, I was appointed as a returning officer 3 times. One, I went to preside over elections at a constituency called 𝐁𝐢𝐬𝐬 in Maua. And again, I went to preside over the referendum, the 2005 referendum. I was the returning officer in charge of Kitui Central Constituency. I also got an opportunity to go to Makima by-election for a civic, that was a civic by-election. So I acquired that experience of electoral law. Though those days, we only dealt with 3 elections. Now there are 6 elections. Those days, we had not embraced technology. Nowadays, they have embraced technology. So that experience will help me discharge the mandate if given an opportunity to serve in the IEBC. I want to say also, from where I'm working today, I've acquired some competencies in compliance of law, because we engage the executive on matters of the public service staff. So we engage them by making a legal, some policy framework on how they can respect legal or laws like the Employment Act and so on and so forth. So I feel by those competencies, the experience, the exposure, the personal attributes, I can manage to bring that to the IEBC.
Thank you, Bishop.
Once given an opportunity. Thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you so much, Bishop, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I invite Caroline Kituku to ask you some questions. Carol.
Thank you, Chair. Bishop Emeritus 𝐁𝐢𝐬𝐴.
Thank you, yes.
What do you understand to be the constitutional mandate of the IBC? What is the mandate of the IBC?
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Catherine Ketuko. If I have gotten your question well through Chair, I would say the constitutional mandate of the IEBC is very well stipulated. For one, the IEBC is in charge of managing the elections in all the phases, because we have 3 phases of in election. First, they are mandated to register voters. They are also mandated to inspect or to update the voters' roll. It is also their mandate to delineate and to delimit electoral boundaries, whether in the ward or constituency. Also, they have the mandate. When I was the returning officer, we were sent accredited observers, both local and international. So it is their mandate to accredit observers from local and international. I think also it is the mandate of the IEBC to ensure that the electoral process, as it is stipulated in the Constitution, it is simple, it is fair, it is credible, and it is transparent.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. So based on where you stopped, that the IBC, whenever it conducts elections in Kenya, must ensure they are fair, credible, and transparent. The report of the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee on IBC made several reforms that would seek to improve the electoral process and the involvement of the IBC in that process. Can you please explain to us some of those key reforms that were recommended by the committee?
Thank you, Madam Catherine, for that question.
Caroline,
sorry. Through Chair, this Parliamentary Joint Committee came up with various recommendations. And one of them goes as per the core values of the IEBC, and that is innovativeness. So in the area of innovativeness, there lies the technology aspect. And therefore, as per the recommendations, the IEBC has to embrace technology in the process of elections so that it can be free and fair. For example, in the technology, we have the voter registration through the BVR, biometrical voter registration. In our time, we used to register voters manually, and thereby having something that is handled by human being, is prone for errors. And therefore, to reduce the errors, technology on registration through the BVR, I think that is very proper. Another recommendation from the Parliamentary Joint Committee was so that we can have a credible election, was to have a multi-sectoral selection panel like the one we have today, so that it is free from political interference, and thereby because they are free from political interference, they will carry out the recruitment of IEBC commissioners fairly based on merit. Also, and I think on the same note, Chair and members, that is where we find independence of the IEBC, the Independent Electoral Commission of Kenya. You know, I won't say in our country, but human beings sometimes they are more on speaking words than actualizing them. So when you look at the name of this commission, Independent, an Electoral Commission of Kenya, the independence must be felt.
So what makes the IBC independent? Is it the use of the name independent or the word independent?
Yeah.
What are those things that the law has clothed IBC with that it speaks to its independence?
The IEBC, to be independent, first and foremost, there are set out laws and regulations that guides the operation of IEBC Commission in their operationalization. And therefore, if they are stickler to the laws and the regulations as enshrined in the Constitution, in the IEBC Act, in the Election Act, I think they will.
Okay, what
yes.
else apart from being established and founded in the law? Anything else that speaks to the independence of the IBC?
Oh, yes. The independence of IEBC also is anchored on, beside those regulations that govern it, the collaboration of IEBC with other actors like the Parliament, the judiciary, and others. That makes the IEBC to be. But by the way, in the where I work today, we say County Public Service Board is independent, but actually it is not independent. It is quasi-independent, and I think the lawyers know the quasi-independent. I don't know about it so much, but I know the quasi-independent is that you claim that you are independent, but you are not independent because you depend on finances from the executive. So they can say, we are not going to give you sufficient funds. And then so for this body to be independent, they also need to be independent financially. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, and I wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I now ask Madam Koki to ask you some questions, please.
Thank you, Chair. Bishop Emeritus 𝐁𝐢𝐬𝐻.
Yes, Madam Daktari.
You have said that you worked with IEBC, ECK.
Yes, the defunct ECK.
Defunct ECK as a registration officer and as a returning officer. I would like to ask you a question on registration, the registration systems we have now. I'm sure you have been keeping in touch with what happened since the defunct ECK. So getting people onto the register is a critical first step in ensuring that there is a participation and inclusivity. The current methods that are being used for registration of voters in Kenya, how accessible and how secure are these methods for registration?
Thank you, Madam Daktari. Through Chair, as said, registration of voters is a key aspect of electoral process. And that is where one step that the Commission should be very careful on it as it undertakes registration of voters. Now, the methods used now, for example, registration through technology. This has its own challenges because you find that it does not go far to the, we call them mashinani, to the grassroots to do the registration. But I have on that, you know, as a management and leadership expert, we have to give a problem and the solution. I was exposed to outreach, gospel outreach, because we have the minority from those grassroots areas where they cannot access the registration models used now. We have to come up with a strategy of how we can reach them out there. I was looking at the population of Kenya and found that those who are between the 18 years to 25 and 25 to 35 constitute to around 8 million people. So, and I want to believe that these ones are now digital generation. But again, there is also the issue of online registration. The current generation, it's not like most of us, where we'll have the patience to go in the queue, for you wait until your fingerprint is taken and what, and then, so the current generation has to be, they cannot access that because of what they are today and the attitude. So we have to innovate a way, either by we innovate through Chair, we innovate online registration. So there are challenges also in that. And one challenge is that technology is not, there is that age gap that is not digital. And therefore also they get, even if you tell them to register online, they may not be able to do so because Bishop, even they do not have these touchy phones.
Bishop.
Yes.
You have already mentioned use of technology for accessibility.
Yes.
What else? What else can we use to access, to enable access for registration?
Thank you, Daktari. We have the technology. We have the methods of reaching those marginalized areas. And also,
how do you reach those marginalized areas?
This one is by, as I said in the church, by making mobile registration centers those which are near to those people who are on the grassroots. I think that is one way of reaching them.
Thank you. Thank you. That's right.
Thank you, Daktari.
Thank you very much and all the best. Chair, thank you very much.
Thank you. I want to invite FCPA Tanui to ask you some questions.
Askofu.
Yes, sir.
Kwanza mimi ni kupongeze kwa ile safari umepitia kwa masomo yako. I want to congratulate you for the efforts you've made in your academic journey.
Thank you and much employed.
Yeah, and now that you are pursuing a doctorate in management and leadership, pongezi.
Asante.
Having seen where you come from. Now, County Public Service Board, do you have a budget of your own?
Yeah, we do not have.
Okay.
Actually, what happens is that the executive appropriates through the County Ministry of Treasury. They appropriate funds to departments. And therefore, at that aspect of finance, we are counted as a department of the executive.
Within
so
the
we are
executive.
allocated.
Oh, so you are allocated.
Yeah, we are allocated some funds.
So you don't prepare your own accounts? You don't?
Actually, we don't.
Okay.
Where we don't, maybe as SPA, if you give me time, where we don't actually do is when they are preparing the budget. At the County Public Service Board, we have the board secretary, who is the IE order, the accountant, the accounts officer. So he is invited to go and submit estimates. Yes.
That's okay. Now, one of the challenges IEBC have been going through is that they have not been following up on the issues that are raised by the Auditor General. Every year, the Auditor General gives a report, and there are several issues that they are raised, or audit matters that are raised. They are supposed to be followed up by both the Commission and also through the Secretary to the Commission, who is the CEO. So what would you do if considered as a commissioner to ensure that there is full implementation of the audit issues that are raised by the Auditor General when they are looking at the affairs, finance, and other administrative matters of the Commission? Thank you.
Thank you, panelist Tanui. Through chair, you know, it is one area to say it will be given money, and the audit does its own work, that is auditing. It concludes its report and then gives the recommendations. And there's another area of implementation. I think if I can be successful, if I can be given a chance to be an IBC commissioner, one important aspect is to go and create an implementation office. This implementation office will go through the recommendations pointed out by the Auditor General and ensure that they correct, either they correct or up their game. This implementation, you remember, because we are all Kenyans and we've been here, the person or the group or the sector that came up with the idea of new constitution, which had been a cry for Kenyans for quite some time. He did it very well because he segmented the processes. After the constitution is promulgated, then there is a Department of Constitutional Implementation Commission yeah, to ensure that that is done. And more so, there should be timelines. By the way, timelines is very important on the implementation part of it, so that if you were to take like 60 days to correct this and you don't correct, there is a penalty on the same. So you don't say, oh, I will do, or I will do. No, you have been overtaken. And when those timelines are set, I'm sure that is one of what we call at the County Public Service Board key indicator in performance, or key performance indicator. So we'll establish that office.
Asante na kutakia mema.
Thank you.
Back to you, Chair.
SEC.
Thank you. I want to ask 𝐉𝐨𝐬𝐞𝐫𝐢𝐿 to ask some questions. 𝐉𝐨𝐬𝐬𝐞𝐫𝐢𝐿.
Thanks so much. Yeah. Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you a question related to democracy. And I'm sure you'll be able to do that. Now, in a democratic process, it operates on the principle of delegated authority.
Sorry?
It operates on the principles of delegated authority.
Yes.
We elect our leaders and then we delegate them to work for us. Now, please name for us any two features of democracy.
Thank you.
I can name one for you, then you continue to name the others. In a democratic process, we get leaders through elections, not selection. So which are other features?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for that question. It is true in democracy, we have to get leaders representation through elections. But again, in democracy, we also come up with, we also think of an aspect of equalization. And therefore, from the experience is that there has been classes that has been underrepresented. And the one class that has been, our category that has been underrepresented is the women category. And therefore, if we want and if we subscribe to democracy values, equal representation is very key. And therefore, in our constitution, it has been spelled very clearly that we have to have nominations. We have to have nominations of women representatives. For example, we have around 16 women nominated by political parties in the Senate. We have another area that is underrepresented, and that is the people living with disabilities, because they also need to be represented at the representation table. And therefore, the Constitution has come out with some regulations that we have a special seats for them. And if I may quote, people with disabilities, we should have from the political parties, one woman and one man. Also, there's another area or another category that is underrepresented, and that is the youth category. So the Constitution has spelled out how that class should be represented at the representation setup. And the political parties nominate one man or one youth man and one youth woman I don't know whether I call that one a lady or a woman, so as so that they are also represented at the representation circle. I don't know whether I got your question right.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
That's good. Now let's go back to the issue of the way citizenry look at the elected leaders, the common citizens, the Kenyan citizen. The way if you were to call out a scene of it today, Kenyans, they do not let their leaders in relation to the roles that they're supposed to play, oversight, legislative, and representation. But they rate them more so on social projects. So how does that affect the issue of representation?
Thank you, panelist Misati. Actually, there is something we call in electioneering process voter apathy. Voter apathy is where voters, they go, some of them go to the election or they go to the polling station and they don't know what is the exact aspect of electing a leader. And that is why they go after some persuasions. And therefore, as a commission, I'll go back there, we have to increase voter education so that they can know what is required during the election, electing their representatives, so that they don't just go there. Yes.
Do you think IEBC has got any business telling the citizenry the role of the elected leaders? What bearing does it have on IEBC?
The role of the IEBC there is very minimal.
I'm saying the
Yes.
role of the elected leaders. Once the leaders have been elected, be it MCAs, MPs, whatever. So does IEBC need to be concerned their role to the citizenry? Does it affect IEBC in any way? How they conduct their roles once they have been elected?
Thank you for that question, but I would think that the role of oversighting these leaders squarely is on the electorate. Where the IEBC comes in is where the electorate feels that we are underrepresented, and therefore in our constitution there's a clause of recall. So if they feel that their representatives are underperforming, there is a way. Although when I was trying to research on the modalities of recalling, I saw some ambiguities, so that it is not very clear on how electorate should recall their representatives. But those who get, including myself, if I get that opportunity, we have to make it very clear and also talk to the same representatives at parliament and see whether we can have a clear way of recalling process.
Thanks so much, Bishop. The last question. You have now said the issue of the recall. What do you have to say about the way they use their devolved funds units, particularly CDF, if it's an MP or county government? Now that you are working in the county governments, does the way the governor uses money at the local level affect any work of the IEBC by any standard? That's what I wanted to come out from you.
I think I am not very clear on what role should IEBC play on that, but you see now, we have reports every now and then from the Auditor General, the Controller of Budget, on the misuse of these funds. This was not done. This was not done the right way. But again, that is as pertains the CDF and the money that is appropriated to the county governments. But even before we go there, we also have money appropriated for the IEBC. So how do you deal with that first? Yes.
So much, Rizzo. I wish you well. All the best.
Thank you.
Over to you, Chair.
Thank you. I invite you, Fatuma, to ask some questions, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. 𝐄𝐲𝐬𝐞𝐫,
Yes, ma'am.
would you kindly tell the panel what systems and safeguards you would propose to ensure transparency and verifiability of vote counting and result transmission? Remember, this has been affecting public perception. The electoral rigging and malpractice has been affecting the public perception. So if you are to change that perception, what systems and safeguards would you propose to ensure that there is transparency and verifiability of the vote counting and the result transmission?
Thank you, panelist Saman. Through Chair, we have various methods or approaches to ensure that the election is fairly processed. And one of them, when I talked about technology. At the polling station, I remember when I was trying to do some research through Chair, I remember I came across the minor KI case, which pointed out that the tallying at the polling station is final and it should not be interfered with. So we, as an IEBC commissioner and the election staff, that temporary election staff, first of all, they should be trained on the importance of the transparency, carrying out transparency and fair electoral process. And therefore, one, at the polling center, the tallying should be open. The process should be open. We do have observers. This tallying should be open to the observers to see. Again, we also have candidate agents and the party agents. They should access that process of tallying. And in the same technology, the transmission, I think those days we were using forms of 27A, 27B, but nowadays they are using the form 34A. So these forms should be signed by all the agents, party agents and candidate agents. In transmission, also the technology should be embraced. And I remember sometimes, I think some 2 or 3 weeks ago, the Kenyan government launched an AI, that is artificial intelligence program. I think it's not a program, but a paper for 2025 to 2030. And therefore, we must embrace the AI as much as the process of electioneering is concerned. So the transmission should be as open as possible. Also, there's something else. We have the media. the media plays a critical role in the electioneering period. And therefore, the process should be open to them so that they can inform the public. You know, when you don't inform someone, you either disinform or misinform. And therefore, to avert that disinformation and the misinformation, we have to be open to the media. And sometimes, I think there is no harm when you show or when you allow the agents to photograph the form. That is the form 34A. And also when they send it to the constituency tallying center, also the returning officer there should as it tallies for the constituency, it should be open, it should be done in an open way. And after that, it should allow those agents to photograph that. So that amounts to accountability, that amounts to transparency, that amounts to openness. Yeah. And therefore, in one sentence, as a management and leadership expert, I would say we should have and we should embrace and we should encourage corporate governance within the IEBC process. That one will give us a mileage, and the public will have trust in us. Thank you.
On the transmission of the results real time, what is the difference? Because the last time this was happening, what would be different? And when you say AI, what's the magic about AI?
Yes, you know, the technology has its own challenges, and that is the hacking aspect. And therefore, the IBC should come up with systems of safeguarding the information, that it is not accessed by the public or foreigners. And that is, sometimes we use a blockchain system. We also have firewalls systems to ensure that we have protected the data of the voters as it is required by the Data Protection Act. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I invite Bore to ask some questions. Bore, please.
Thank you very much, Chair and Bishop. I also want to join my friend and panelists to congratulate you on the achievement.
Thank you.
Yes, and the pursuits that you're still doing at this age.
Thank you.
Now, given a chance to serve as the IBC commissioner or member, what measures will you take to ensure that your personal conduct, both online and offline, reflects the dignity and neutrality required of an IEBC commissioner and the commission itself?
Oh, thank you so much, Member Bore, through Chair. One key aspect is that the IEBC commissioners and also the staff are guided by regulations, which spells out code of conduct, which is very key, which spells out how a public officer should behave, whether in the office or outside. And I think it is captured in the Public Ethics Act. Yeah. And again, to attain that, once you get in there, you must declare your assets, your worthiness. You must declare your worthiness. And this should be done periodically. And through Chair, I would say, while there, we have to establish an ethical committee or ethical board to keep on monitoring the behaviors of the commissioners, and also the senior staff or the staff or the election staff. So another aspect is that one should not behave in a way that will damage the reputation of the commission, because we are supposed to be non-partisans, and therefore, whether offline, there are these social applications that people use, like Twitter, the X. There should be no comment that will put the commission to a bad shape, and then therefore we should be guided by the regulations, by the laws, and always we should be at that. Whether you are in the office, whether you are performing an official duty, or whether you are outside. And there's something else, through Chair Bonabore, that is very also key, and that is the association. Who do you associate with? Because peers have some influence. So you should be very careful when you become a commissioner, when you are a senior IEBC staff or other election officials, on who you associate yourself with. Through Chair, I will say one thing, which is normally said. Just show me your friends, and I will know the kind of person you are. And that is very important, Bonabore. So, and I will say that is not curtailing the freedom of association. But being there, you must adhere to the etiquette of that status. Yeah.
Thank you, Bishop, and all the best.
Thank you, Bonabore. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Professor Adams, please.
Thank you, Chair, Bishop Emeritus. First, I want to thank you from a different perspective, that many a time selection panels have interreligious council members as a key stakeholder. Yet in terms of that stakeholder offering themselves to be at the commission has been a little bit thin. Therefore, you are being here to go and be a stakeholder within IEBC is an improvement from just being a member or being represented in the selection panel. I say that because whenever there has been any electoral disputes or any breakdown in the country, the religious sector has been at the forefront in trying to mediate or get the country to come back. And therefore, I'm really interested in seeing how, if at all you are to be a commissioner, what is it that you would bring to the table where the commission is sitting, not only to reduce the trust deficit, but also to end up building confidence so that Kenyans of different political divides can say that there is an impartial, independent electoral boundaries commission. And hence my question. As a member of the IBC, you will be expected to anticipate future electoral challenges. How would you align the commission's objectives with Kenya's evolving political landscape and the demographic changes. You know what happened during the Gen Z drama when your churches were invaded.
Yeah, sure.
So tell us what should we do.
Thank you, Prof, for that good question. Through Chair, as we have put it, whenever there are issues, there needs some mediation. There needs to be also negotiations. As a church minister, that is one of the skills or quality that I got. And how do you do this? What methodology do you use to gain back the confidence of the public? And as you have said, that the Kenyans will say, truly, yes, that commission as a servant of the Lord who has guided, the commission towards the right direction. One of them, we should increase communication, and not only communication, but open communication. Because in every area, when there is lack of communication, everybody will just try to come up with his own idea. This is what is happening. So I would bring in that skill of communication. We can even deliberate, because at the board, I looked at the commission and the board where I am, and it's only the levels of engagements, but they almost operate alike, because at the board, we have committees that deliberate on issues, they research on issues and bring them to the board, to the full board for deliberations, for either to be approved or for either to be adjusted upward or something, you go back. So at the commission also, there is that formation of committees. So, and these committees now, and I think there has been a problem from what I have read and looked at on, and that is a management problem. Whenever there is no clear roles spelled out, there is an ambiguity. And this ambiguity can exist between the chair and the commissioners, or the commission and the secretariat, or the whole commission and the public, or the commission and the other election actors. And therefore, what can avert that? If we can have a center of giving out updates on where we are today on various aspects, then we'll avert that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Prof.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Prof, you have two last questions, please.
Bishop Emeritus.
Yes, Prof.
You know, somebody who goes by the title Emeritus should not be asked questions where they think very much. But seeing you, I see you are somebody. You're a traveled man in your profession, and I believe you know Africa well. So I'll restrict myself to Africa.
Sure, sure.
Which African country was known by the colonial name Southern Rhodesia?
That is an history of many years ago, but
It went through what Kenya
I
went.
would think, my prof, also in the academy, we respect the prof,
Yeah.
the title of prof, because we are
Yes,
anticipating to be doctors.
Yes.
As our chair there and others. And therefore, I would say, I would say Rhodesia was Zimbabwe.
Who? This is my last, so that Bishop Emeritus is not put on the dock for too long. Who was the first president of post-apartheid South Africa?
Wow. Thank you, Prof. That one I learned when I was doing my bachelor's on international relationship unit.
Yes.
And this was none other than Nelson Mandela.
Emeritus, you are indeed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have appreciated our discussion. I don't know whether you have any comment or question to make as we draw towards the end.
Thank you, Chair. As we conclude this session, as a bishop, I am guided by values of integrity, transparency, and fairness, which to me, I believe, they are very essential for the success of IEBC election process. I commit to uphold these principles to ensure or on ensuring free, fair, and credible elections. I want to justify why my name as a bishop. We look at there is a verse in the Bible, that is Proverbs 11 verse 3, that states, the integrity of the upright guides them, but unfaithful are destroyed by their deception. And therefore, given an opportunity, I will act, I will discharge my mandate with all the honesty and the accountability. And I look forward for that opportunity so that I can do the much awaited dispensation to our mother country, Kenya. God bless you, Chair. God bless these panel members, and God bless our country, Kenya.
Thank you very much, and God bless you too. You will find your certificates at the door as you exit. The notebook is yours, and the pen, and even the water if you so wish. Thank you, and blessings. Welcome to lunch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Asante. Okay. Media, you want to give us a few minutes as you exit for lunch, kindly? We shall be back at 2:40.